make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
Roar. Roar.
Colonel Ironsides here. 200 years I stood in the gap, fighting those who would harm my country. It was my honor, my sacred duty, so help me God. 9 times they took my life. 9 times I stood back up and made them pay. The freedom fighter and I can handle anything, but someone betrayed me. I was ambushed, made mortal, rendered powerless, and retired. They passed an amendment and made me a civilian before I left the hospital. For 50 years I watched my country change. Watched its work while erasing me from history. The day I quit my job, I powered up and discovered they lied about that too. I'll remind them of freedom. I'll remind them of duty. I'll remind them of their oaths and who they serve. I'll remind them while I'm shoving it down their throats.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I wanna know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I wanna know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Hey there, welcome to the show. Why am I so small? Hold on a second. There we go. A little better, a little better, a little better. All right. Depends, if you want me this close to you. Anyway. All right. Welcome to the character Autopsy. Here we are at the what is that? The morgue. Here we are at the morgue, the morgue of imagination. And today, what is that off? That's off center here. All right, is that better? All right, yeah. Anyway, today I'm actually going to do a character that I've been working on. It's kind of in the vein of the characters we've been doing the last couple of weeks. Hey, we got a Wookiee. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Good to see you. What's up, dude? Surprised you had time to jump in, to step in on here. Anyway, but this is a character I've been working on. Now, I was part of a project called Out of Obscurity a few weeks, or actually a couple years ago. Supposed to be about to go to print, but it's supposed to have gone to print like 3 months ago or something like that. Actually, we were supposed to have funded it 2 years ago, and it's all done. you know, just waiting for the editor to, you know, get it together. Anyway, Luke, come on now. Anyway, but in the meantime, you know, I was searching for what they're called public domain characters, and there are tons of public domain characters that are just like sitting there, waiting for somebody to kind of like you know, pick them up, brush them off, and do something new with them. Hold on a second. Wookie. Think that's Wookie. You necromancer me, you. Sitting in my car on a conference call. All right. No problem. Yeah, I figured as busy as you've been lately. I was a little surprised. Anyway, yep, I resurrected this character from obscurity. Now, the original series, there are books available, the collecting of the pulp novels. Now, let me read the synopsis of the original series. Former stage magician George Jontz, by various twists of fate, becomes an eerie vigilante to help the police solve baffling, unique mysteries. He's aided by his loyal crew made up of former glamour girl Mary White, circus little man Tiny Tim Terry, former bookmaker and gambler Joe Harper, and Glenn Saunders, a novice musician who is his identical double. Created by writer G.T. Fleming Roberts, the Green Ghost and his team battled all matters of villainy and some of the most macabre pulp adventures ever recorded. Now, Chance and Company are back, and 4 brand new tales as chronicled by a quartet of today's finest new pulp writers. In these pages, the Green Ghost will face a giant mechanical monster on a long-abandoned boardwalk, attempt to solve the murder of his old mentor, uncover a ring of foreign saboteurs using radio frequencies to carry out their missions of terror and destruction. Here are pulp thrills and spills, showcasing one of the most original classic pulp heroes ever invented. Now, I've read other synopses that had it kind of like differently, where basically he used this kind of like toolkit as a magician in understanding illusions to kind of like pull off what the Shadow does. You know, the Shadow does with his voice and everything like that. He would do with his appearance. Made it look like a glowing skull. And he would like, you know, he'd go after people, solve mysteries. Hey, what's up? Oh my gosh, Dave Brink. I don't know if I want to tell about one of my characters in front of Dave. Dave's got so many good ones. What's up, Wrangler? Hell, what's up, dude? My ride or die mod. Anyway, so basically, I took this character and you know, I don't have the original source material. You know, I at one point I tried to like find some books, original books, but there's some of them that are kind of niche. So I just decided to, you know, because my vision of the sky was so different, you know, and so I decided to go my own way. I forgot to play the placard. There you go. First cut. So I decided to go my own way. I decided to kind of like, you know, the way I was visioning him was different from. I like to stage. When you go to adopt a modernize a IP like this, this was written from 40 to 44, something like that. Aldous, you know, on the farm made sure I knew that. You know, I got the Shadows era wrong. And, you know, he doesn't watch my channel. I think it's beneath him. But if he does happen to stop by, I apologize. The Shadow is indeed first published in 1930. And he ruled the 30s and 40s into the 50s. And most popular character in the world. He was Batman level. You know, he was huge. And George Chance was part of a move of pulp characters that were kind of in that vein. And he was created to kind of like take advantage of that market. Had a really cool kind of like idea that this guy would use like fluorescent paint and mirrors and things like that to make it look like he was a ghost. A lot of similar to the first Ghost Rider book or story I wrote. And I decided that rather than have the supernatural be lizard domain, what if it was the real deal? But he was like proposing to be the fake thing. He's like he's kind of like working like Houdini did. If you don't know about Houdini's activities, you know about the magician that was the greatest stage musician that's ever lived. We're still talking about him today, but he also debunked a lot of supernatural stuff that was going on. This is back to the spiritualist movement was like in full swing, and they had seances everywhere. You had mediums coming out of the woodwork. And there's an entire like religious sect of Protestantism called spiritualists and services and things like that. I mean, spiritualism was huge, and it was like robbing people of money left and right, and he didn't like that, so he started debunking using his knowledge of as a stage musician. He knew exactly what the tricks were, and he debunked a lot of them. Some of the most powerful ones of the day, and some people think it got him killed. We might do a cryptids and conspiracies on that one day. We might just do that. Anyway, so this George Chance that I kind of decided to kind of make him in the vein of that, like a stage musician who's actually the real deal. Now, this has been done before. There's there's kind of like a television show that was similar to that. But what I set him in my community service universe, and he's actually a Freedom 5 member that disappeared mysteriously. I know where he went, but he's going to like reemerge in the 20th century. But back then in like the 20s and stuff like that, he kind of he put a shingle out kind of to do that. So that but let me get into the character history. That one took a while. Anyway, so George Chance actually was the son of Chance and Lily, and they were actually supernatural detectives. And they were actually the curators of something called the Rosemont Institute of the Paranormal. And both of their families were involved with the Institute. And they, during the course of their being raised in the Rosemont Institute, they became fond of one another and they married. And George was the result of that. Now, the Rosemont Institute of the Paranormal is actually heavily involved with guarding the gate to the paranormal. There's actually a physical gate, and it happens to be in the basement of the Rosemont Institute itself. And basically, they became the guardians. The paranormal doesn't like the fact that these people are here. And so their life expectancy is not the best. And when George was a young man, haven't exactly worked out how old he was, but was uh, he was riding with his parents. They were in a South American country, trying to uh, solve a local problem that was demon possession, some bad stuff going on, and they were killed by some mysterious monster that attacked the car they were in, and it almost killed George. But because of the Rosemont Institute of the Paranormal was so close to the paranormal, um, when one of them dies, death sends a reaper specifically to escort them because of all the entities that would want to interfere with where their soul is going. But George was not dead, and the Reaper still working out the name. I think it's going to be Malakio. I'm still kind of workshopping the name, but the Reaper decided that when he saw the child, he saw this bright future ahead of him, and that he was going to be pivotal in the war against the forces of darkness. And so the only way to save him was to stabilize his soul on this plane. And so Malachiel, like I said, I'm workshopping the name. This might not be the final name, but he merged with George. Basically gave him his light, and so George basically became part Reaper. Okay, walking the line between death and life, and so anytime George gets hurt, Death himself has to come and deal with it. Because he's such a special case. And so he's on first name basis with Death, and Death is not amused anytime he gets called. And George, George basically kind of, he kind of like calls Death more often than Death would like. And so when George emerged from the car, one of a car following theirs, what a man was in it. I'm still working out the name. I haven't figured out the name yet. I didn't realize how much this backstory I don't have nailed down yet. But he was actually a member of the Rosemont Institute of Paranormal, former priest. Lost his eye in an exorcism, and kind of a grizzled, kind of a hard-bitten guy. Drinks too much, and now he's got to raise his kid, and so he's kind of a father figure to him. And but the joke of it is, what's interesting about it is there's people in George's life that may or may not be dead, but because George sees souls on equal basis with humans, he's not always aware of who he's dealing with, if they're alive or dead, and so that gets a little confusing for him sometimes. And so his mentor might be living or he might be dead, but at some point along the line, he probably died, but he's still, mentoring George. At this time in the story, But George has some really cool stuff. Not only he went into the basically to pay his way, he shut the Rosemont Institute down because he's pretty much the only one left, and all the artifacts that are inside of it pretty much supernatural forces want to get their hands on them. But he's pretty much the defender of that. He's the defender of the gate to one of the very few gates directly to the afterlife. He happens to have one in his basement, so he's got to protect that. And so it's like, how does one man protect that, right? So he has the persona of a stage musician. I borrowed that from the original. And so people think he's a magician, one of the best magicians in the world. George Chance, he doesn't have like a magnificent or anything like that. He's just George Chance. Chance is, it's just a cool magician name. And, but he also kind of uses kind of like that whole mission kind of, like Houdini did, of officially looking into the paranormal to do investigations into incursions by the forces of darkness. Now, because he's part Reaper, these are kind of the cool things. Okay. When the Reaper joined with him, he got access to the Reaper's black coach and his scythe. But because the Reapers have to move around in society, the black coach and the scythe both have ability to blend in and look like something else. Now the black coach, and I tried to get a picture of this yesterday, but Midjourney couldn't do it. Grok couldn't do it. I may try another one, but it's a Tucker Torpedo 88, Tucker 88 torpedo, but it's blacked out. And so that's the black coach. And it's got like a horse badge on it, a black horse badge on it. And that's what he tools around in. It's a black coat, so it's supernatural. Pretty much can operate like a tank if he needs it to, but it could also drive through buildings, incorporeal. So it's a pretty cool vehicle. All right. And the scythe, he can turn it into a fountain pen if he needs it to be concealed. It can turn it. It has the original form of the scythe, but it also can turn into twin Colt 911s. Black with pearl handles. Back skull bone handles. It's just the world's my oyster. I mean, this guy's got so many things I could do with it. But he does. The problem with his life is that very few people can stay in it. The forces of darkness are always trying to get to him through the people he loves. And so he has pretty high body count of people he loves. And because of that, he tends to stay like distance. He was a member of the Freedom Five at one point. So he does know Ironsides. You knew him when he's Ironsides and not Colonel Ironsides. But he also, he kind of like disappeared pretty much in the early 1900s, around 1920s, somewhere on in there, maybe later. But I'm still working out I'm working out the specifics here. But now it's in the 50s, right? It would have to be in the 50s if he had the Tucker. So it'd have to be in the 50s. Anyway, so that's one thing you do about, when you're coming up with a character, coming up with, So you're seeing a lot of stuff entirely locked in, but there's a lot of cool ideas. I've got them workshopped. Okay, so essentially, he's the Rosemont Institute of the Paranormal is his home, and he's got a like the cavalcade of characters that he had like in the original series. I'm not entirely sure I'm going to go that way. Some of them are kind of goofy, like the midget. Maybe I don't know why I'd need a midget, but I did take that idea. So he does have an assistant called Mouse, and Mouse is a shape changer. So it's kind of like he's kind of like at the George Saunders thing, where the original guy, where he can look like George Chance if George Chance needs to be the Green Ghost. And so when George Chance becomes the Green Ghost, when he has to go ghost, it's basically the Reaper part of him coming out. And so there's this diaphanous green skull that kind of like covers his features. And I'm working on getting. I'm working on getting artist renderings of that, but that's like one of the cool things that I think is going to be really neat visually. But basically, his assistant Mouse is a shape changer. He's an expressor. He saved him as a kid, and Mouse never forgot that, and so Mouse became the curator of the Rosemont Institute of the Paranormal. Basically became a Green Ghost museum. And so when he comes back from the 20th century, Mouse is going to be like his Bucky, his Robin. And so Mouse is a shape changer, but he can, he started out, he was in an orphanage, and the only animal he could find to emulate was a mouse. And so that's who he learned. So he basically takes a while. He needs familiarity to take somebody's form, so he can't do it like right away. He's got to spend enough time with them to figure it out for his powers to take hold. So that's one limitation that he does have. But Mouse can, he can, one of his forms is a werewolf, so he can handle himself in a fight if he needs to be. But he's just a really cool character. But this series is, I've already got I'm working on 2 different stories. Looking forward to seeing that. Yeah. Hey, O24. What's up, dude? Good to see you, man. Welcome. But I'm still in the early days of figuring out a lot of this stuff, but it's so much coolness. I mean, sometimes you got a character and you're working on it, and there's just so much cool stuff coming at you. And I'm having trouble hooking this Marlin and getting him into the boat, but he's going to have a lot of supernatural elements. He's going to have the neo-noir elements. He's got a personal face, basically, as a magician. He's known around the world as a magician, and he's also the real deal. He's a curator of the Rosemont Institute of Paranormal, so he's protecting his gate. Also all the artifacts that his parents and the Institute has collected over decades. It's made him a very interesting character. Plus he's got that dual nature with the Reaper, and the Reaper is Reaper's priorities. It's not like he can talk to him. Basically, he's almost a Jekyll and Hyde thing. Sometimes the Reaper just takes over. If something a priority pops up that you know, that George disagrees with, the Reaper's always going to kind of win. So he's got that element to it. But anyway, so I'm basically working on this. I'm working on landing this. Here's a visual representation of George. This is also Mid-Journey. But this is going to be kind of later on. Hold on a second. Sometimes working on characters that can end up going somewhere awesome you never expected. Yeah. This guy is definitely going awesome places that I never expected. So this is an older George. This is after he reemerges in the 20s. I mean, in the 2010s or 2020s, whatever you call this decade. And this guy, he's really turning out really cool. If you know anything about my character Autopsies, then you know kind of what's next. But let me go ahead and bring it up. Okay. All right. Sorry, I have a real big delay on that. Okay, pulp or noir. Now, if you know anything about my system, I have a 2-tier system. Now, this basically differentiates how your character is going to interact with other characters. Okay. Now, this is really especially handy in big groups, and it's also handy in crossovers. It's handy basically figuring out how they work through their environment. And it's pulp or noir. Now, pulp means that your character has kind of supernatural elements, and they also have a code of ethics that they follow, that they adhere to. A code of ethics or a system that they adhere to and do not deviate from. Now, noir, though they're more human, they're more vulnerable. They're also more situational ethics. And dependent on the situation is whether they're going to react good or bad. Most of the time it's there's a lot of self-preservation involved. Now, with George Chance, you know, because he has that dual nature, is he pulp or is he noir? Well, fortunately, both natures are. They're both pulp, and so the Reaper is actually the Reaper is kind of like a complete black and white, good or bad, death or life. He's kind of sees things in absolutes, and George is not quite there. He basically has he has compassion. He also has he does skirt the line when it comes to the law, but at the end of the day, he is the guardian of the door. He is the curator of the Rosemont Institute of Paranormal. He is defender of people against the supernatural forces of darkness. He's just a good guy. So George is definitely pulp. So not much of a surprise there, but he is definitely a pulp character. Now, people around him, people he associates with, some of them might be noir, because he's fighting forces of darkness, and so he does have to like be there on the leading edge, where darkness and light kind of fade into gray. So because of that, he does have some shady contacts. He does have some people that he deals with that might not be on the pulp side of things. So, but that's pretty much end of the day. He's pulp. All right. So, what's the writing challenges? Not sure why I have this delay right now. But okay, the writing challenges are when you've got a character with this many moving parts. Okay, he is a world unto himself, and it's basically, if I start writing him, I'm going to be not going to have time for anything else. It's just a really powerful character. It's also got a lot of cool stuff, a lot of neat stuff going on, and the tendency for a writer is that it's to abandon all projects and jump on the one that is the best, the most promising, and this is a very promising one for me. And I've got, like I said, I got two stories partially written, and I'm working on the backstory, getting things nailed down. You saw some details I didn't quite have nailed down yet, but that's the biggest writing challenge, is when you get some character this good. You want to go all in on it, and to the complete like distraction from everything else. And that I've got like so many irons in the fire right now, writing wise, that I can't devote the time that I really want to this guy. So I pretty much had to put him on the back burner for a lot more often than I want to. So it's basically that's the writing challenge of anybody, that all writers have awesome stuff on the back burner. Because while you're writing one thing, other things come out of that. Your brain will branch off in another direction, and you're like, whoa, come back here. We're focusing on this right now. The muse is going to go where the muse is going to go. My muse is a cigar smoking, mustachioed imp who drinks cheap Mexican beer, smokes Cuban cigars, and lives in a boat in my driveway. And likes to take trips to see the senoritas every once in a while. Texas cooler and goes south. I won't see him for a while I have stories I'm trying to get landed. And then he'll show up one day, a little worse for wear, cowboy hat on sideways on his pointed ears, and he'll just sit there and snore on my, and throw pixie dust on me while he snores. And suddenly I'll have a lot of awesome ideas. If you're a writer, you feel my pain. If you're a writer, you feel my pain. It's just the way it is sometimes. Nothing will happen for weeks, and then suddenly you've got 50 story ideas. Anyway. When is your muse going to shove Green Ghost in the room with Switch? Very cool. Yeah. That's a good question. How would he and Switch get along? I think he would find her kind of amusing in a annoying way, but he would find her very amusing. I don't know. I don't quite know how that would turn out. I may have to put those two in a room and Let's see what happens. But he's gonna like come he's gonna come into the community service universe at some point, and I have a hunch that Ironsides is gonna need a lot of underground help, and so the Green Ghost might wind up in the main series eventually down the line. I'm just one man, guys. I'm just one man with this incredible idea universe that I can't afford to, you know, do all the things that I want to do, and that's one of the problems of being a broke writer. Hold on a second. Yeah, I know that pain. Sometimes I crank out chapters in short orders as I'm stuck for a few weeks, even months at a time. Yeah. Yep. And I always say just the muse. He went on holiday. Maybe someday I'll come in and I'll smell cigar smoke, beer can, cheap Mexican beer cans everywhere, and he'll be sitting there with the cowboy hat over his eyes. Pixie dust will be everywhere. But it is what it is. That's my muse. That's what I deal with. So that's the cross I bear. When he's so interested, the ideas come fast, and they're all pretty awesome. So, I'll put up with it. Anyway, so now a little, so we'll close the door. Now, like I said, he is still in media res. He is still being worked on, still being workshopped. Not quite ready to roll him out to the world outside of the show. But he's definitely one of the cooler characters that I have in my universe right now. And I'm still kind of working out what his powers are. I'm still working out his limitations. I'm still working out several things in the world around him. But he has some really amusing conversations with Death. But Death is not used to having to deal with mortals, mortals that are still alive. And so he's kind of like an interesting character. But in my world, Death has this really interesting fixations with cars. Not really entirely sure what that is, but that's Death really likes cars. He likes cars. I'm not entirely sure why that is. But I've got like a story where Death takes possession of a car. It's a long story, but anyway. So essentially, we're going to close that out. And now we're going to talk about the future of this channel. Now, I have in my chat over there a question. The question is, do I need to open up the show to people bringing characters in? 3 votes, all 3 or no. Now, let me tell you what my idea is. Now, one of the guys who shows up in my chat from time to time is John's Longbox, and John has a character. It's kind of a neo-noir detective, but he has a giant eyeball mask or whatever. It's called the Private Eye, and sounds really cool. And I've got other people like my friend Jared, who has Super Guy, who I think is really cool. I'd like to know more about. He has a Ghost of Ashcroft. It's one of his characters. And then you got people like Dave Brink, who has like character after character after character. All of them are awesome. All of them are interesting. But if you're going to, if we're going to change pop culture, we've got to change it with great characters, like Perfect 10 from Dave Brink's Genuine Universe, so people like that. And so my idea was maybe even interview people and have them bring a character, run it through the system. First cut, character history, pulp noir, writing challenges. But have them do what I did today and bring out a character, maybe show some art, and walk me through what makes their character tick. Do a dissection. And in a way, kind of one of the reasons for the show is to kind of like show people how to build a character from the ground up, and how to nail it down, how to and it might be interesting to bring in some writers, like if a guy's got a project out there that he's promoting, maybe bring him on and have him show one of their characters, walk through the autopsy. That might be something useful. Hold on a second. Completely misunderstood the question. I had changed my vote for yes, not for self-interested purposes. Oh, no, not me. So you might have characters you want to share. Okay. Yeah, I got you. But, we've got people right now that have draw streams all over the place. And draw streams are fun. Draw streams are good. Draw streams, especially the one that the studio does, that promotes indie comics characters that maybe not even out there yet. But I like the idea. But this might be a way for me to, because I see so many cool characters. Like Don from Don Draws has been showing character after character. They're just bangers. They're just really cool. And it'd just be nice to maybe bring him on, talk about Project Omega, Mega Force, maybe. So Mega something other. But maybe bring a character and kind of like walk me through it, walk through the process. Talk about his character, how it fits in his universe, things like that. And it might be a way to promote more of my fellow characters, more of my fellow creators. I have Nathan Rosario on to talk about Stump. Stump's one of my favorite characters. I mean, I love that guy. I wish Nathan had more time because I really want a book 3. Come on, Nathan. Come on, man. But that was what I was thinking is it's maybe like have a promotion aspect to this show. Not only do autopsies of characters that are like everybody knows, but it would be really cool to bring people on like Vaughn from Vaughn's Magic Castle or whatever, from Rise Again Comics. Talk about Dr. Black from Monster MD, or Black Terror, his version of the Black Terror. But I am always interested in I can see where I'm making evergreen content here for people who are like, I'm a Spawn fan, and this Spawn shows up, and they're like, oh, that's cool, Let me click on this, and I can see the evergreen content being important. But I also want to introduce people to brand new characters that we're trying to replace all the ones they've destroyed. And dear Lord, it's been a massacre. The last 10 years has just been a total massacre. Every character that we've ever loved, every character we've cared about, every character we grew up with seemingly has just been mutilated and destroyed down to the studs by incompetence and venal rage and hatred. It's just been we got to replace these characters. We got to replace them. I mean, Punisher, what they done to Punisher, way they destroyed him utterly and completely. Now future generations won't have Frank Castle and the interesting way he viewed justice. They won't have that unless somebody comes up with a character with a similar bent. And the one thing that really makes me sad about what's happened to characters is the fact that future generations won't be able to open up an X-Men book and see, all these awesome characters interacting. They won't be able to, feel pride for their country with Captain America standing up against all odds, with the shield in place. They won't be able to root for Spider-Man in yet another impossible situation as he cracks wise in the face of death. They won't have these things that we had. They won't have the Incredible Hulk picking petals off of a flower when he was just ripping a tank apart. They won't have that because they've destroyed it. They ruined it. They salted the earth and peed on it, and just let us see them do it. I got these characters. We got to put something back in society because this is our fiction. This is our mythology. This is it's what makes our culture what it is. This is how the culture's sick right now. It is just sick. And the only cure is a blood transfusion. We got to come up with Green Ghost. We got to come up with the Switch. We got to come up with Perfect 10. We've got to come up with all these awesome characters that I around every day. I wish I could back everybody, but I'm just me and I'm still trying to fund my own stuff, and so I don't always have the funds. But I want to back everybody, man. I want to back everybody right here. Just within reach. Maybe have Vaughn come on and talk about Galvanite, this awesome character. Maybe have Aaron C. come on and talk about, maybe not this guy. I don't think there's much of a story there, but maybe this chick right here. The Empress Tilamon. I don't know how you pronounce that. But there's so many great characters, man. Just right here. The reimagination of Oz. The Scarecrow is just the coolest, man. His version of the Scarecrow is just a badass. Six-gun gorilla. He is a public domain character that has been reimagined. There's like one or two copies of the book left, and it's under lock and key in England somewhere. He's hoping that they'll digitally move it someday. I have have John's Lone Box on to talk about Patriarch. What makes Patriarch tick? What's in Patriarch's under Patriarch's hood? Zoltak, Death Dealer. That might be cool to find out what makes him go. This guy right here, Danny, from the Hybrid series. One of my favorite characters in indie comics. I was able to do a short story on him. But it's all within my reach right there. We've got so much awesomeness happening right now. Maybe even get the Trash Man. Maybe have Luke on to talk about the Trash Man. we're in a renaissance right now. We're in a golden age, and we got so many incredible characters. So many incredible characters. All right. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. I love Immortal Rising, and that would be Empress Telix Mon. Okay. All right. I wasn't sure how you pronounce that. Anyway, that's the point I'm making. Is I like talking about these legacy characters. I like talking about these, the Question, last week, before that, the Spirit, I mean, the Bane, I did Spawn. Spawn, I was a little disappointed in, quite frankly, when I raised the hood on that one. There really wasn't much under there. It was a little surprising. But then when I did Witchblade, it turns out she had a lot going on. But that pronunciation was correct. Okay. Emperor Telix Mon. Okay. Evidently has a little Jamaican going on there. But as much as I like legacy characters, as much as I like, I just would like to have people come on and talk about the awesomeness that they're creating. And so, even though my vote the vote was like pretty negative towards that possibility. Let me see if it's any change here. All right, somebody voted yes. Okay, still two no's, one yes. Okay, no big deal. But so that's a possibility. We have draw streams, so it'd be cool to have a character, like a character creation stream, or somebody being able to promote their characters. You got somebody like Dave who's got over 100 maybe, and all of them are just like awesome. Well, let me change the yes. Okay, so that's 2 votes yes. Okay, no problem. Well, yeah, maybe the question wasn't didn't really make it clear. But yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start like offering that up to people, and on weeks that I don't have anybody to promote, I will do one of the multiple characters. I've done the Gambit. I've even done Eric Cartman, because it was requested. I did Eric Cartman, and it felt really bad after I was done with that. That's a foul character. Oh my gosh. Nothing redeeming about that guy. But yeah, it's part of the bargain. But yeah, so I think coming forward, I think that's going to be part of the show. It's fine, dude. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. You're my ride or die mod, man. I'm not sweating it at all. But yeah, so we're going to that's when would be part of the show. It also add a ability to have guests on, things like that. If Wrangler, if you got character you want to show, if you want to like reveal to the world, feel free to hit me up. But basically, they have destroyed. They've stood on the shoulders of giants and peed on their head. Bunch of toddlers took over the crystal shop and reduced everything to glass on the floor. They took some of the best pop culture on the planet and just ruined it because they didn't have any love for it. but they had all the opportunity. And I say we need to get it back. We need to blood and transfusion. We need to, give the pop culture a shot in the arm, and part of that is through characters. Viva la characters. But anyway, so that's going to be maybe a change going forward. If I have people that bite, people that want to be on the show, people that want to show their characters off, I'll be totally open to that. And I'm hoping maybe this will become a destination for people wanting to promote projects and things like that. But I already do something like that Gen X Files on Mondays. Gen X Files is more of a general top pop culture show. But this will be just like razor focused on characters. Anyway, so that's been Cooper Tales about the Buddy Comics. If you happen to be free on 7 o'clock on Saturday night, it's just going to be me and Cruel. I'm going to ride with the Scotsman. If it ain't Scottish, it's crap. But we're going to be talking about Did Atlantis Exist? So that's going to be this Saturday night. Already doing my research on that. And just me and Cruel. Wiki is busy, and I think Abby's going to be out for the rest of the month. So we'll do the best we can to muddle through until he gets back. But thank you all for coming tonight, hanging out with me. Hopefully I'll have some Green Ghosts stories for you real soon. But we will see you later. Follow the White Rabbit. Like and subscribe if you like what we're doing here. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.